okie dokie. Reginald here. We're going to cover the patch notes, and then we're going to do a little bit of gaming. So we're going to record this live, and we're going to put this up so you guys can hear my thoughts on the patch notes as we go through them. And then we're going to do a little bit of testing on some of the patch notes as well, because I've got the capacity to do that on the fly. And then I think they'll be a little bit fun just to show off some of the changes and how they matter and the meta-analysis of the game and how the game is right now. A few hot takes, spicy thoughts. All right, so first up is the Scav and Dreg Vanguard updates. It looks like there has been a reduction in their health pools by a reasonably substantive amount, but you know, when I look at them for the Vanguard, for example, and for the Dreg Vanguards, I'm gonna guess that this is about one hit. Like we're looking at headshot, we're looking at health pools from 2100 to 1600 on the high end. You know, you're looking at what? That's like roughly 500, so it's about one hit, right? 290 is the base calculation for Transonics. So if you assume ADM modifier for flak is pretty high, probably looking at like the 400. I think that in the majority case, these guys are still going to feel pretty tough. And I bet if we go to the range, we could actually see exactly that. So why don't we go do that real quick? Let's just take a look. We're going to hit this guy. Ready? That's about what I would expect. About 3 hits. 2 to 3 hits. It was 3 to 4-ish hits before. All right, I think they're fine. I think they're fine. If you get a bunch of these guys, you're still gonna hit stop on them. If you swing high enough, you can get over their shield a little bit. I think the complaints about them were overtuned. Can you double push them? Yep. But I also think it's fine if they aren't super annoying. I will say this is a weird issue, by the way. So I will say that the issue I do know about this is that in Orc, they actually spawned a lot more of these than they were spawning in Havoc. So even though I mostly, you know, played into these guys plenty on Orc, there is a problem if you're like soloing or you're duoing and you run into a spawn of these, they can be really thick. So now they're going to be a little easier to deal with. But they're still going to be thick. I mean, it's not going to go away. I think it's a reasonable change. How about that? I think it's a reasonable change. Block radius decreased. Yep, that's why I'm able to hit their heads a little bit. It's from 120 to 100, so it's a 20-degree reduction in their guard on the half moon on front. They've been lowered in events. This is probably good because in Auric especially, they were spawning in droves, dude. You get like 20 of these, it was kind of a pain in the nuts. So I'm fine with that in Auric. You know, Havoc, it's never been a problem for me at all, especially, you know, player competence and efficiency has been there, but, you know, that's good. New stagger available. We just demonstrated the double push stagger. That's great. We like that. Mechanicus Power Sword has been improved. So we got a fix to an issue where the finesse and first target stats would not correctly apply their scaling for special activated attacks. I don't know what that's going to be like, so we're going to have to go, we're going to have to look that up, okay? We're going to have to find out what that actually feels like on the weapon, and we can do a build with it real quick. We can just swap it out and check. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to tell, honestly. I don't think it was that big of a difference in the first place from what I remember of the math. But remember, finesse is a multiplier to damage, and it's multiplied in the middle of that combo. We did that in my video the other day, so we know how impactful a multiplier can be in the right circumstances, so it could be significant. Increase the melee strength bonus scaling on special charges from 4 to 5. Okay, so we're going to get a little stronger if you've got the 6 charges on hand in basic melee. Added a new Light 5 diagonal Vanguard attack, chained from Light 4 and chaining back into Light 4. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't want them to change the moveset. I don't like the moveset being changed, but it's not that bad either. Let me show you what that looks like before we go into the rest of these, just so you guys can know. I don't have Decapitator handy, so we'll try it like this first. Okay, so you do the 2 stabs, you do the overhead, you do the light, and then it just light chains like this. This is light spam. I'm not a big fan of this, but I think it is making the game like I don't like I would have preferred a different mark. I would have preferred something else. I think the fact that you just get stuck in this combo from then on, it's kind of mid. Because you can just push light, heavy. So it's like, why did we need this? It was a really easy combo. But hey, look, man, if it was too hard for some people, I get it. You can also do this. There you go. Thank you, Winters. I appreciate that a lot. The moveset change is good. I'm tripping. I don't know. I didn't think it was necessary. But look, if people are happy, then I guess it's fine. I think the big thing is the upshot is it's at the end of the chain. So if you're just kind of like head off light spamming, you do have like a way to just do this now. So for people who are a little less good at the game, maybe this is a great change for them. Personally, the problem I have with it is there was a combo in here where you would get a stab right there, okay? It was push attack, and then there was a stab right there. That was my favorite combo on the weapon, and it's gone, okay? I liked poke loop. Now I can only get the 2 pokes if I do this. So I'm not sure I like that change. But, look, I don't have to agree with everybody. It's fine. $5,700 is the maximum you can do if you've got Cord Claw. So there you go. That's the amount of damage you can get. You can get a pretty sizable amount of damage out of the Power Sword if you're trying. I don't think that's any different, by the way. I don't think that's either here nor there that big of a difference. I think it was already doing about that much damage. It's maybe a little easier to get that combo off. So there you go. That's where we're at with that. Change the scaling of the mobility stat to provide an additional effective dodge when exactly at the 80% stat. I think this change is crazy, and I love it. And I really want to try out a 80% dodge stat mobility Power Sword and just see what this feels like. Because one of the things I don't like about this weapon is that it feels pretty bad to move around on, and that is actually pretty neat. So we're going to have to do that later. Slight range and hitbox increase for all attacks. That helps the light stab from the left side, where I just always missed that thing for some reason. So that's good. Slight move speed curve increase for heavy windups. Okay, so what this is before, if you did this, you slowed to minus like 80%. Notice how I came out of that a little bit faster? So now I can actually like move at a reasonable pace. And that's all that is. That's the entire change. Is now I can approach my enemy and hit them with my Power Sword instead of like literally stopping in place. So I think that's a good change. That was kind of necessary. Simple tech for you, by the way. Just slide, man. It's like the old Power Maul. Kanaka's Power Sword and Arc Maul. Tweak the HUD element to represent special charge to give better visibility against the background. I didn't even notice that when we were talking about it, but I'm sure it's just a little bit better. Fade out of the HUD when at full special charges. I'm not sure I like that. I think I'm fine having it fade out. This should be a toggle. If you could make this a toggle, that'd be nice. A Decapitator Weapon Blessing. Change the one-shot on enemy health requirement from 100% to 80%. You still have to one-shot them, but you only have to one-shot 80% of their health instead of 100. So other things can have touched them a little bit. Stacks decay 1 by 1 instead of all by 1 at once. That's huge, actually. There's a fair shot of actually keeping this up. Updated the duration and scaling per stack over blessing tiers for all weapon families. So I don't know the finesse math because it's insane, but Decapitator is a finesse blessing, right? So it is a multiplier on your damage, however it scales. And from 20%, so we have to find out. I get almost no value out of Decapitator. Not gonna lie. I get like 1 stack and it goes away before I hit anything else. I gotta say, this feels like ass. Decapitator, how many stacks of Decapitator have I managed to get? Almost any? Like basically none, right? Like 12 across both games. Yeah. It's not like I'm not doing damage. It's just I think the only time I had Decapitator stacks was when I was killing the Horde, and then I didn't get to use them on the elites. So yeah, that's Katari damage, 0 decap damage. Exactly. I'm not getting anything. Let's just flat swap to this one, okay? And just see how much better it feels, because I know it's superiority, and it's gonna also not be up all the time, but at least if I get a kill ever, it'll fucking matter.
My ruling is use this one.
Add a new alternative crosshair for melee weapons to the special mode switch. Right. This is for the Paratransonic Blades, the Sapper Shovel, the Latrine Shovel, the Crowbar, and the Bone Saw. I mean, to me, the most important one of these is for people who don't have mods, which is, a lot of people don't have mods, right? So it's going to be the Transonic Blades, where they don't change color for most people. They change color for me because I got a funny mod. So let's look at that. Okay, so this is the basic combo, and then if we switch, we get this little circle. That's nice. I think that's very nice, okay? Requirements for Decapitator Blessing are now more lenient, allowing for enemies. Yes, okay. So we would have to get a... We're going to do a comparison later. We're going to check this out. Note, Bonesaw also has it. Power Falchion has it. Combat Axe has it. So we could see Bonesaw, Combat Axe, and Power Falchion suddenly become a lot stronger if this blessing is very impactful. And if it's not very impactful, it won't change anything. Now, Bonesaw already had Decimator, which is a very strong blessing, so I'm not sure which of these two things is going to be better. Because remember, Strength also applies with damage, so it's pretty strong, right? Machine Spirit Resurgent Weapon Blessing. Lowered the cooldown scaling in tiers. I don't care. Skitaria Blitz's update. We have updated the Skitarias with the goal of aligning their power levels in comparison to each other and improving their usability. Arc Grenades. We've updated the Arc Grenade application to increase consistency. Damage is now delivered through a short duration debuff instead of direct damage. This change also affects the other arcs in the game that are coming from abilities. Arc jump range is increased. Explosion radius of initial arcs is improved. And now generate 4% capacitance for each elite or specialist killed by the Arc Grenade. That's a pretty sizable buff, but it's also not like that important because you're going to get you consume these, right? So it's like, okay, you get a little burst of extra capacitance. You probably get like 1-ish charge from this. Because remember, you also get 4%, so it's 8% per elite, so you're getting almost 10% per elite. I think in general, you're looking at about 80% of a charge if you kill all 10 elites that this thing can kill. Pretty sure it can still kill 10 elites. We'll go check it out. This is still bad, by the way. I just don't take this. It should be only 3. So somebody asked if it was more, but here you go. So we're just going to start with just like a random toss. Here you go. There you go. So as you can see, it's a little bit... It's more consistent. Before, sometimes it would blow this whole thing up, and sometimes it wouldn't. Now, it's much more consistent. It shocks over a short duration, and then it's more noticeable what it's hitting, and you can kind of tell that it's doing its job, right? Kind of a big deal that it does that. See? All right. Now what we want to do is we want to know where the cap is, because it only hits so many enemies. So let's just grab... Let's see. 10 Ragers and a Crusher. That's right about in line with what it used to do, okay? We should see how much capacitance we get out of that. We got 1. 1.5? Is that right? Let's try again. We got 1 right now. So we got 1. 1 and change. Like 1 in 0.75? 1.1.5? Something like that. So pretty solid, definitely good. Good way to keep your sustain going. Not radical. Not radical. I don't think there's any reason why, like, if somebody brought these to my game, I'd give them then. Because having the ability to say no to 10 Berserkers and maybe a Crusher, or like kill a handful of Crushers, or something like that, right? Perfectly, or even if I don't kill all the Crushers, right? Let's just do a bunch just for demonstration purposes. Even if there's some left over, look at how little left is on some of these guys. You know what I mean? Okay. Pretty reasonable amount of damage. So I think if you're fighting, you bring along some Arc Grenade guy, that's good now. It's at least worth considering. I don't think it's better than Noosphere, especially with how I just showed off Purgo Skull being as crazy it is and you getting 5 of them. Servo Skulls, Purgator, and Medicae Servo Skulls. Base charges 4 to 3 less. Both Purgator and Medicae Servo Skull collect at the same time, gives you charges to 5. The Purgo Skull has been buffed, by the way. I'm going to say it outright. Burn stacks per hit 1 to 2, so it doubles the rate of application. But the max stacks goes from 16 to 12. This is a noticeable damage nerf. However, guys, you did not usually get to 16 on spin mode, and you usually get to 12 on spin mode now. You didn't even used to get to 12 that often on spin mode before. It was like 10 typically. And I gotta tell you, this does a lot of damage now. I took it out for a spin one time in No Man's Land, and like 15 Maulers spawned in Auric, and they all died. Just all of them. They were just cooked. In fact, let me show you. Let me show you. All right, so let me just show you guys what this looks like. So let's imagine you're fighting a bunch of Maulers here. I'll make a big old line. A big old line. I don't know exactly where the line is, but there you go. Yeah. Now, that's not going to probably kill a Havoc Mauler, but it's going to put them at about probably 20% HP. 25, maybe? I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm just, like, off the top of my head. I'm guessing. So, yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, that's pretty significant. I think that's a pretty significant buff. I think it you know, and then obviously there's this mode as well, which, you know, it stacks them faster because it hits quicker, right? But then it caps, but so it's now the direct damage plus. So in a way, this actually got nerfed because this was the only way to get to 16 before reliably. But I mean, it's going to get to that too, and then they're going to start taking reasonable damage pretty quick. So, you know, I think that's pretty good.
Awaken Servo Skull.
This is what this looks like in Havoc. In Auric, we killed 31 Maulers and 1 Flame Skull, just for the record. So Zazmanaz, thank you for the membership. That's huge and really appreciate it. I'm hugely grateful for that. In Havoc, I think my Servo Skull is kind of causing trouble here, but in Havoc, we don't kill them, but they do lose most of their HP. There you have it. So it doesn't scale into Havoc as well entirely. There is a caveat to that we should probably talk through here real quick. So how much did this improve by? Ready? Probably talk through here real quick. So how much did this improve by? Ready? About 2 seconds faster. That's pretty substantive. And we should also, the one I also want to talk through is, let's just do one of these. So, all right, remember this one where I was talking a lot of shit because I was like, you guys are not thinking about the radius enough? Like, the radius is fucking enormous. Well,
Rousing a Servo Skull. New priority target. Ranger. Deregistered.
Thing is, it doesn't do as much peak damage, but it gets to the peak that it now has a lot faster. We could probably go do a direct comparison to my old video, but I'm pretty sure that that was overall faster. Get back to that. We'll get back to the skull. We'll keep going on the grenades, all right? Let's go to Noosphere Command. Can now only be used if you have the required capacitance, so you can no longer fire at 0. I still have mixed feelings about this, guys. I'm going to be honest with you, because the funny My Chud Sun builds, they were funny, you know? I'm not going to lie, and you couldn't really use an ability with them, and it was, you know, it was crazy, but also kind of reasonable in a weird sort of way. So that's kind of, I don't know if it's dead, but it's definitely reduced, right? It's going to be a lot harder to do. It doesn't affect you the rest of the time, though, because, I mean, the way I use Noosphere is completely consistent with this. I almost never use it at 0. Integrated Refraction Emitter. Charges replenish every 75 seconds. Max 3 charges. No longer replenished by picking up grenade boxes. A voltaic resistance subnode. The number of arcs released will now be 1 in all cases. And reduce the number of hits required per arc from 10 to 6, which, I mean, considering how many hits you take when in front of a gunner, it's basically nothing. But I guess at, like, lower difficulties, maybe this is, like, a bigger deal, right? So let's just quickly go do that. All right, here we go. Ready? We're going to do it again. From the top. Stand right here. We can get this guy. It's about in the radius. Pretty decent radius, I think. All right, let's do a little shock. It's like... Actually, that was 153 times, like 450 damage. Yippee. I can do math, I swear. Factor Field Blitz is a melee supports blitz. It's actually quite decent for that purpose, by the way. That's how I used it. Because look at the stagger on it. And now you have, like, a decent amount of protection from range. So you do it in melee, and then you just get a nice little shock. Zip. And that's fine. If you got 3 or 4 arcs, it'd probably kill some people. I think it needed to be regen. You can't pick up grenades. You can't pick up ammo for it, by the way. So it won't do that. I am a little concerned that 75 seconds is too short. Like, I think that might be too short. I think that might be too much. Because keep in mind, it's cooling down right now, so it's actually, if you think about it, 12-second duration, 75 seconds, that's 63 seconds per charge. If you think about overlapping duration, I would put it at 90 personally. I think this is a little too much, because, like, look, I'm almost halfway back there. You save up 2 of these in a Havoc game, you're killing that entire gunner problem, right?
No, that's just not fair.
In like a baby mode difficulty, not that useful. Okay, if you're playing in Havoc where gunners are actually the most dangerous and shooters are like the most dangerous thing, you save 2 of these up, you press the funny button, you get 24 seconds of invulnerability to guns. You go push that gun line with your Chud Claw, you just kill all the fucking guns. And then anything that happens to survive, well, whoopsies, gets shocked by the remaining shock. Hang on, I'm just gonna push this in the open. Also, this node is very handy for reses. I know it's not better than Medicae Skull or anything, but you think about it, you're immune to gunfire. You can have True Grit with it. You can be stun immune, right? So you've got stun immune, True Grit, and gun immunity, and then you also get a stun every 6 seconds or whatever. That's pretty useful. I think that pretty much solves the whole res problem. It's pretty free. That's why I think it probably should be closer to 90 seconds, by the way. Just all that. Quality of life changes. This is nice. You can now order your operatives list in the operation selective screen. You can actually move them up and down. This is nice. This feels great, by the way. I put all the stuff I wanted at the top. It's nice. Expeditions, I don't care. I don't care. Let's see. Tech remnants dropped with value above whatever, who cares. Made it so that dodging out of an aspect doesn't matter. An alternative controller layout. Good for you console players. General fixes. Rolling pseudo data interrogation minigame counts as progress for the Machine Whisperer penance. Okay. Skull companions had incorrect unlock requirements. Kicked players will no longer be prompted to reconnect to the mission they were kicked from. Fixed issue where Sire Melk's events were empty and no event was ongoing. Yeah. Fixed Skitarii integration refraction emitter being active while grabbed by a demon host or eaten by a beast. Was that really a bug? I feel like that wasn't a bug. I had my shield on. Veteran demolition stockpile buff showing the wrong timing of grenade replenishment using crack grenades. Oh, that's a nice fix on a niche problem. The wrong number of power overload keystone stacks through power drive keystone upgrade now will give stacks and the abilities deactivated based on total charges consumed when the ability was active. Nice. Break the line was causing disconnects. That's funny. How does something like that even happen? Fix a crash could happen if a latching attack was interrupted right as it hit an enemy. I think I've experienced that. That's me. Overcharge transfer lattice not showing its cooldown time in the HUD when it activates. Okay. Not advanced. So red line and advanced power management are now properly reacting with advanced combat doctrines. That's good. Slice and dice not refreshing its duration when getting used. I guess that was a bug. I thought this was on purpose. I'm not even a kid. I'm not even a joke with you guys. I literally thought this was on purpose. This is going to be crazy now. You can get. I mean, I was already getting 60% with axial slash for about 3 swings sometimes. But damn, that's pretty wild. But I would say that it's now leaning towards slice and dice being better. That's much more reliable. Because also, think about it this way. Before, let's say you were fighting a boss, right? We'll demo a little bit. So imagine you're fighting a boss, right? You hit him. You need to dodge. You got to fight for a second. Now, it would have been gone, but it's still here. So now I can reliably trigger this on the boss, man. And I bet my boss damage is just actually through the roof because of that, because I was losing out on about the third for me, the fourth one and the 5th one were typically getting 20 and 40 instead of 60 and 60. So you're looking at a lot. No, they did not fix the Zealot dash. I'm actually pissed. It's not like Zealot was my main character for years or anything. It's not like I want Zealot to be fixed. Yeah, no, I'm a little pissed. Sorry. Most of these I don't care about. Crashes, Servo Blitz. Health will now stop to be drained for an incapacitated ally while being revived by the skit. Wait a second. Health will no longer. I'm gonna rephrase this because clearly this was not proofread. Health will no longer be drained for an incapacitated ally while being revived by the Skitarii Medicae Servo Skull. That's massive, because people were dying sometimes when I was buffing them. That's crazy. Fix an issue where Skitarii Servo Skull attacks could be blocked by allied abilities, such as Smoke and Psyker Telekine Shield. That's also nice. Much more reliability. That apparently was not intended. Fix an issue where Mutant and Chaos Spawn grabs did not take dodge linger times into account for their hit detection. Oh ho! Can we dodge the grabs much more easily now? I don't see it. They did change the double reload. I saw that one. Here you go. Not being applied to capacitance gains other than base generation over time. Oh. That could be a pretty substantial increase to capacitance generation. Okay, we are done. Warm regards, everybody. Reginald. It is important to me to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to all the people who have made this channel possible. It's a true passion of mine, and I genuinely could not have kept going without your support. A special thank you is due to my strongest supporters. Lyric Scroll, thank you so much for your long-time support. Bloodsheet, your membership means a lot to me. Quintessence of Life, I am so grateful for your vote of confidence in my content. I am also blessed by the support of Thor Savant level members. Your generosity and support is incredible to me. Monolith, Novinitus, Mylater, thank you so much. And T Lampton 1. To my Adept level members, I want to say thank you. Your support is huge for this channel and it keeps the streams alive. Champsor, Ebony, Corbererb, Eric Holmes, Mr. E himself, Career Politician, and JS Dragonfruit X3, Chaos Eddie, and Will Gallant. And finally to Vinny, who has always supported my streams, even in the tough times when they weren't working. Thanks so much to you all. Reginald.